yeah, it was pretty much like you have cancer and it's bad, essentially.
Jordan from Bugs, thanks so much for joining us on Hack.
Thank you for coming to my house. It's amazing to meet you.
It's a beautiful place.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's beautiful. It's a good spot to rest up, I would imagine. And that's probably something you've been needing a lot of over the past few months, especially. It's been a tough year. I mean,
I'll say.
You've had a hectic few months. Earlier this year, you found out that you had colorectal cancer. Can you tell us a bit about the lead up to it? Like, had you suspected that there was something wrong for a little while?
Yeah, I did. I was getting a lot of stomach pain, like hectic stomach pain, to the point where I was taking a lot of time off work, seen a few doctors about a potential virus or why am I having stomach pains. So I knew, you know when you feel something's wrong with you, even though, all the evidence might point to otherwise, but intuitively your body. And that's how I felt. I was like, there's something right about here, feels wrong, need to get it checked out. And I downplayed it, because that's what I do, just downplayed it. It's like, I'll keep pushing through, I'll go to work.
Well, I think that's what most people do, because you don't suspect the worst, especially when you're young. And, I don't know what your doctor's reaction was when you went to them with these problems. What did your doctor have to say? Well,
the first doctor I went to see, he was pretty much like, all right, look, we'll do some bloods. He was like, I'm fairly sure it's a virus. You had recent bowel changes, stomach pains, and no vomiting, nothing like that. But it's all sort of centered here. He was like, I'm pretty sure it's a virus. So we'll go do some bloods. The bloods came back maybe a week later, all sweet. So I went back to the doctor. I was like, hey, it's still happening. I'm still in a lot of pain. Oh, it's a virus, don't worry. It'll go away in a couple of weeks. And it wasn't until sort of my third visit with that doctor, which it had been going on for about a month by that point, that I went in and I said, I'd love to get an ultrasound. I'd love to get a CT scan. Yeah, he was a little bit dismissive when I asked for certain things, the old doctor like, nah, I'm right. Don't worry about it. Like, it'll go away. I went, you know what, screw this. Like, I genuinely feel fucked. And I know there's something wrong with me. And yeah, he was immediately like, look, your symptoms all indicate something terrible is going on. All your bloods have been fine. It's not a virus. He's like, I don't think it's cancer, but I think we should get you checked out and do a scan. And so he ordered an abdominal ultrasound, and the rest is history.
What was going through your head when you got that announcement from your doctor?
I actually found out straight after my colonoscopy. They pretty much had the biopsied the cancer, the tumor, during the colonoscopy. I don't know how long that was, because I was under. And then, gastroenterologist came to the end of the bed and said, my partner G and my mum were there, thankfully, because I was still not lucid. And it was pretty much like, you have cancer and it's bad, essentially. That was tough. That was a really weird, a weird day, to be honest, because, you wake up from the colonoscopy, starting to come out of the drugs, and it finally sets in as you're driving home, or, mum was driving me home, and it's just dead silent in the car. So that was, awful.
It must have hit you even harder in the sense that you really weren't expecting this, because you had doctors telling you that it wasn't really an option, probably because of your age.
Yeah, it was, literally the amount of pain I was in. I was like, something's wrong, the doctor's wrong. By the third visit, I knew, you shouldn't be going about your day and then keeling over in pain and not being able to move for like 6 hours. And at that point, I couldn't eat. I was eating once or twice a week. So
wow.
I really did let it get too bad before I saw another doctor, got a second opinion. Advocating for yourself in a doctor's office is difficult as a young person. I asked for the things that, wanted to happen. I'm not a doctor. I don't know if it's a normal thing to give a CT scan to someone with abdominal pain. And, so I asked the question, got denied. The second I started sort of pushing a little more, like, no, hang on, this really, I'm bothered. I'm in pain right now. Like, you see, can't you feel my abdomen and feel how hard it is? And at that point, the doctor was like, look, you're being a little aggressive, like you're being a bit pushy.
Wow.
I knew I wasn't. I was just someone in pain, reaching out, panicking a little bit. So I imagine that happens a lot. People panic, you know, when they know something's wrong with them and they know the person that's supposed to help them is not helping them.
In terms of symptoms, you mentioned the pain that you were experiencing, but was there other stuff as well that you look back on now and you're like, oh, that was a bit of a flag?
Yeah, absolutely. 6 to 12 months before, it was like a little bit of bleed, like blood in the stool occasionally, lethargy, general tiredness, weird changes in stool consistency as well. That was a big thing that you don't really think about it, but mainly the pain. Like for myself, that was the biggest indicator, which I now know was because the cancer, the tumor was growing as sort of like a circular tube inside of my bowel. And so it was blocking off, slowly getting bigger and bigger and blocking off. So anytime I ate, the food would just kind of get caught there.
Stuck.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, that's a lot of pain.
And then everything moved pretty quickly after that, right? In terms of before long, you were getting major surgery.
The surgery itself, I checked into hospital a little bit early because I was still having a lot of pain. And they just looked after me and, you know, kept an eye on the stomach and how I was tracking. And then I think it was a Friday that I got the surgery. And they basically took out 50% of my bowel. And then put in the ileostomy as well. So
an ileostomy, for people that don't know, it's a stoma.
Yeah.
And can you explain what that is? Because there might be people as well like, what's a stoma?
Yeah, of course, of course. So essentially, it's a hole before your rectum that, you know, food, bile, everything in your stomach goes out of and gets caught into a bag. And then you can dispose of it in the bathroom, whatever. It's like a poop bag.
It's a poop bag.
Yeah.
And you got it with you and it's there the whole time. How was that adjustment? Like that's a massive thing to get used to, right?
Yeah. I mean, the scariest bit was the night before the surgery. It was like the doctors came around or the surgeon came around. He's like, look, there's about a 50% chance you're going to get an ileostomy bag or an ileostomy put in. We don't know yet. And I just said to him, please,
Don't let me wake up with that bag.
Yeah, because honestly, I knew nothing about it until then. But then waking up with one, it was like, well, you know, 50-50 chance. Of course it's going to end up there. And so I woke up looking down, like, oh my God, this weird thing, like this red nub hanging out of my stomach. And it's looking alien as hell and feels very strange. And it was so sore after surgery, of course. It is what it is. I woke up and I went, well, that's what it's going to be now.
In terms of what you can do with a stoma, it's pretty like you can do most things, right? Like it doesn't restrict your ability to live your life normally that much, right?
No, once it was healed, I figured, you know, I'll go for a walk. Walking's fine. Oh, I'll mow the lawn. Mowing the lawn's fine, apart from the sunburn that I just got. You know, play around with the dogs. There's been a few instances of like dogs' paws touching or slapping, and at the start it's really painful. Now it's just feels like a piece of skin, so it's not a big deal. I would say physically is easy. Like it's just something that you get used to. You know, say you had 3 fingers, you'd get used to it pretty quick, I'd say. But mentally, you look at yourself different. You know, there's body image issues that you sort of deal with. To me, it feels alien still a little bit. I'll be showering with the bag off and I'll look down and it's only been about 3.5 months. And I go, oh, you know, the thing's pretty ugly.
So you had your surgeries to remove, you know, huge part of your bowel.
Yep.
And then you had the stoma put in. Mm-hmm. You've also been on a chemotherapy regime as part of your treatment. How's that been?
Yeah, brutal. At the start, it wasn't too bad. My first cycle, you know, all smiles. The nurses there are fans of live music, talking about bugs.
They're all bugs fans?
Yeah. One of the nurses, she's going to hate me because she'll listen to this. But yeah, she was telling me how she saw Betty Ray. She saw all these bands. It was around the time you guys were doing the hottest 100 of all time as well.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I don't know what to do with my list. Like, she'll almost show me the list. I was there like with the chemo going in, like kind of tired, like, I don't have time for this. But the chemo has been, not without struggles. Biggest side effect for me out the gate was like skin issues. So obviously the type of, there's like a colorectal specific type of chemo they were giving me in an oral form, like a tablet. And that just tore up my hands, tore up my feet. The tip of my penis was getting crusty.
Wow.
Which I thought was an STD. And apparently it's just chemo drugs, slight lack of smell, touch sensitivity to cold things. Like I can't touch, after my first few days of the chemo, everything I touch has to be room temperature. Otherwise it's like pins and needles, like a million pins and needles in the tips of your fingers.
You've been out of the public eye for a little bit of time while you've been getting your treatment.
Yeah.
How has that progressed in the sense, like, are you feeling a lot better now than you were initially? What was the trajectory like with your treatment?
I'd lost like 20 kilos. And so...
Wow, that's a lot of,
Oh, it was crazy. In like a month as well.
Yeah.
It was a really short period of time. And so coming out of surgery, starting my chemo, and coming home from chemo, like Brock, the drummer of Bugs, one of my best mates, he brought around a shit ton of meats. He smoked these meats and he's got them all in Tupperwares. He's like, eat this. This is good protein. It's great for you. Also, here's some fruit juice that I've made. Like, here's all this healthy stuff. And so I spent the first, 2 weeks scoffing down meat and rice and trying to gain the weight back. I was so tired because I hadn't eaten for so long. And then once I started eating, I felt better. I'm just on my 4th round now, but the side effects seem to be getting worse which I've heard is normal. It compounds because the chemo never really leaves your body.
Builds up in your system.
Yeah. So it's killing the cells. It's going to continue to kill those cells, good and bad. I'm very lucky because I've still been able to go to work, on and off. Still been able to see friends and go out to eat and play drums when I can and feel okay.
How has your mental health been though? Like coming to terms with all this, we heard in terms of the stoma, like it was a bit of a mental block at first, but generally on the course of this treatment journey, how have you been doing?
Yeah, I think overall, very average, not great, not terrible. There's been days where, I'll be sitting on the couch watching TV and just sort of burst out into tears. You go, why me? Like, this is super unfair. I haven't done anything in my life to deserve this. And then other times I'll just forget about it for a day. And those are good times when I'm hanging out with mates and stuff. You can forget. The biggest struggle for me is the perspective shift of my life now. So I've spent 29 years, or at least the last 5 years, grinding my ass off, trying to make money, trying to become, a homeowner, a new car, whatever, buy things. And all of a sudden, you may or may not live for the next 5 years and things pivot and you go, hang on a sec, what makes me happy? So that's been part of my mental health journey, is like actually figuring out what makes me feel good during the day instead of, going to work and being a slave and getting stuck in a cycle, really. I'm sure anyone who's had a brush with death will tell you, I've got to change something about my life. Not saying I had a brush with death, but for the potential of dying, it has seriously changed my mind about a lot of things. Like my friends have become closer. Like things like music have become therapy, especially when I'm really down. I'll just play guitar if my fingers will allow it. I'll play guitar or play some drums, and so that's been my therapy, my way of soothing myself.
What is the prognosis, Jordan? Because I guess you're at stage 4, which if people don't know, there are 4 stages of cancer, and this is the worst. It means it's spread. Mm-hmm. What have doctors told you about what to expect in the years ahead?
So the latest news from my oncologist was you will never be cancer free at this stage. You'll be on chemo for your whole life, and the stoma will not get reversed. It'll be a balancing act between trying to manage side effects and kill cancer or keep it at bay. So that's essentially my prognosis is for the foreseeable future. Try and make life comfortable while killing the bad cancer cells.
And how do you feel about that?
Well, it's pretty fresh to me. I heard on last week, so I'm still processing. A lot of feelings of just anger. I had a lot of anger because it's something that's out of your control, which is really unfair. But then within a day, within 2 days, I sort of tried to flip it and go, hang on a sec. These are the things I can control, like diet, exercise, sleep, drinking a lot of water, talking to my friends. And so trying to, think about that more than thinking about, oh my God, I'll have cancer forever. Because, that's just me now.
Yeah. Are you scared?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, constantly thinking about, tomorrow might be the day where my liver just goes nah and gives up, and it could happen at any point in time, which is terrifying. But also freeing, like I was saying, like you kind of just live life as if you're going to die. Like,
Tell me what the support of Bugs, G, your immediate family has meant to you.
it's insane. I can't put it into words. People like G, Brock, Connor, my parents, constantly coming over to the house. They've been invaluable, like bringing food, helping me clean. My dad bloody mowing the lawn, cleaning the car, stuff you don't want to do or physically are incapable of doing when you're feeling really tired. And then just being there to chat. Same with the family. My family's been reaching out. My brother, who lives in Brooklyn, he came over when I did the surgery. He came over for a week, and he came to the hospital and kind of went like, it's awful. Like, you were not like super physical. And it was the first time he had been like, it's like, okay, cool.
It meant a lot.
Love you, bro.
How are you feeling announcing this to the world?
If it was going to be terminal, and if it was going to be I have 6 months to live, I actually wasn't going to tell anyone, except for maybe a close couple of friends. But I think I was convinced by Brock and Con to sort of make it public, because the idea of a fundraiser was spruiked, and I was a bit like, feels, dodgy. Like, I don't need money. I need to live, like, and then the more we talked about it, the more they sort of convinced me, like, this will help you in your quality of life. You have so many people that love you, and you have so many people you've affected through music. And I was a bit like, nah, like, not a chance. I played bass. Who cares about bass players? Like,
Oh, come on. He's about to ignite a war with bass players.
announcing it on Facebook was a tough one. Because you want to give details, but you don't want to give too many details. You want to post photos, but you don't want to post too many photos, and then on top of all that, I'm fucking wrecked. I'm tired. I've just come out of surgery. I'm starting chemo. So social media presence for me was not a priority.
And were you surprised by the kind of response you've had? I mean, obviously there was the GoFundMe, which has raised more than $100,000.
Yeah, I think it's upwards of 100, which is nuts.
That's wild. That's so nuts.
Yeah, I can't thank anyone enough. That's 100 grand in a month is just ridiculous. Like,
And what does that help you out with? Like, so people know it's kind of expenses to do with treatment, but it's also just day-to-day stuff,
Yeah, I would say bills, obviously being super lethargic, tired all the time, ordering Woolies, groceries delivered, like tiny things like that. Stoma supplies, some of the special like belts you can get.
Yeah.
They actually helped me pay off the private bills from my gastroenterologist, which was thousands and thousands of dollars that I didn't have. So things like that. And everyday stuff. I mean, I wasn't struggling before, but knowing that I could be out of work and was out of work for a long time, Having that money in the back burner is fantastic, because now knowing that I have cancer forever, who knows what'll happen? And so it's just one less thing to worry about. Now I could focus on recovering and healing.
So there's been the outpouring of love from, fans, from family, from friends, the music industry rallying so hard. And then it all culminates in this big gig that's happening in October, on the 4th of October, Tivoli.
Yep.
How are you feeling about that? It's sold out.
It's sold out. I can't believe it. It sold out so quick too.
You keep saying I can't believe it. I'm like, I can believe it. Like,
yeah, I mean,
like good lineup, people want to support you. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff culminating.
Yeah.
Does it feel good?
It feels amazing. Actually, it's overwhelming and terrifying and scary. And I'm probably going to do a speech, and I'm probably going to cry. And, I'm also going to be 2 days after my chemo treatment at that stage. So I'm going to be tired and going to meet a lot of people that I love. And and the outpouring of support from bands who we've played with before, who we haven't played with before, who I haven't talked to in 10 years. Like it's been, unlike anything I've ever seen. It's strange.
Yeah, it must also be strange just having these really diametrically opposed extremes. Like on one hand, you're going through this really tough battle and all of the emotions that brings. But then you've got events like this, which are really like career defining and huge and amazing. And you don't have this outpouring of support very often. So that must make you feel really good. So it's this constantly battling between these two extremes.
It is strange. Like you'll wake up and you go, I feel like crap today. And then I look at my phone and look at the poster. It's popped up on Facebook. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty freaking cool. Got something to look forward to,
How do you see the next little while in terms of music? Like you mentioned, music's been a real help in this time. Are you able to play a bit, to get involved in music as much as you'd like to? Are you using this time to write music? How's that all going?
Yeah, I actually used a little bit of the money from the GoFundMe to sort of buy some recording equipment so I could start recording drums and do some cool stuff like that. So that's me at home, just having a good time. When I feel really good, I go downstairs to the studio, whack on the recording and just jam out. So like I was saying before, it's just therapy. But outside of that, with Bugs, we've had plenty of time to record some new stuff as well, which in light of recent events has been very, very laid back and very, we haven't set a date for release. We haven't set the amount of songs on the record. We're just kind of going in, winging it, feeling really good about what we've put down and taking our time with it.
So there's something coming, but you can't say when.
There's something coming, can't say when. What I will say is I'll be playing at the gig on October 4th, as much as I possibly can with my broken fingers and broken skin. I'll give it a real good crack. So music's still very present. I'm never going to give that up, Has it
changed the kind of music that you want to make or want to perform? Like, is this headspace that you've been in over the past few months, do you think it's going to influence your music going forward?
What we've put down already is a massive shift, even before I was diagnosed. But now after, I think, it's even more... it's more reflective. It's more reflected in the process because we're taking our time, because we know that, well, at least I know, nothing really matters but art, having fun, your friends, that kind of stuff. So you can hear that, I think, in the new stuff, just through, taking our time, creating some weird sounds with new instruments, and we're just experimenting at the moment. So it's fun.
You're not alone in what you're going through. Obviously, you've got Australia behind you, and then with your very personal battle that you're facing, so many young Australians are. Like, I was reading a stat, it's like close to 30,000 Australian men are diagnosed with bowel cancer each year. Yeah. We know that the statistics in terms of young Australians in particular have skyrocketed over the past couple of decades.
Yeah.
Any advice to people who might be listening to this? young people generally, if it's young guys specifically, about their health and, you know, what they should be keeping an eye out for?
Yeah, my number one thing would be, you know, don't be tough. Like, there's no point. You're not impressing anyone. You're not like, I felt like I was kicking goals, going to work while I'm sick, you know, working in the construction slash maintenance industry. It's like, oh, I'm pretty tough for going to work while I'm sick, you know. That's dumb. That's so stupid, because if I'd seen a doctor previously, maybe the outcome would be different. Maybe I wouldn't have a stoma. So my advice is, yeah, don't be tough. If you have any symptoms that, or any changes in bowel movements, any blood in your stool, anything, just go get it checked out. Advocate for yourself with the doctor. And if they don't give you what you want, go see a new doctor. That's my biggest advice after what happened to me.
And what's your biggest hope for the next few years when you look ahead?
That is really tough. That's a tough question. I think finding peace with the fact that time might be limited, knowing that I'm only 30 and something terrible's happened to me, coming to peace with the fact that it's not my fault, and then hoping to find or just continue to do the things that make me happy. That's my biggest hope for the next 5 years. Hopefully nothing will stop that.